At My Taxi Business, we know the meetings don't stop when the festive season starts. With 4-minute wait times, 10,000 drivers and automated reporting, My Taxi wants to make your work life easier, no matter what the season. For hassle-free setup at no cost, visit business.mytaxi.ie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast arena. Coming to the ring at this time...
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
First, representing This Week in Geek, and from parts unknown, he is Mike, the Birdman, Dodd.
I am one hardcore D-O-double-D.
I'm a nice man. I'm a nice man.
His tag team partner, representing the Geekcast radio network, and hailing from the outer reaches of your mind, he is Mike, TFG1 Blanchard.
I got 4 words for you. Check out my ass.
And from the Great White North, here is your special guest referee, Ryan, the UnEvenFlow.
The multi always gets his man.
You are listening to Mayhem Mics. And now, let's get ready to podcast!
Hello and welcome to Mayhem Mics. This is episode 48. I am, of course, TFG1 Mike. Joining me is Ryan, the UnEvenFlow Markley. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello. So SmackDown had its 1000th episode. Yay, SmackDown. Woo. Yeah, 1000 episodes for SmackDown. Pretty cool. I mean, just, as much as Raw, SmackDown's, I think they're approaching their 20th anniversary or something like that. Or other. I don't know. I liked SmackDown 1000. It was more interesting to look back on SmackDown than to see what currently is going on.
Yeah, SmackDown's been the better show, though, and it's been really good lately. But again, a lot of that's been Lynch and what they've been doing with her.
Yep.
As opposed to Raw has pretty much everybody injured or... So I guess we should bring up a couple of the bigger notes, too, just in wrestling in general.
Yep.
We, of course, had the revelation that Roman Reigns is fighting leukemia again.
Yeah, very, very sad.
Yeah, there's... there's no good... I honestly believe he will be back. And I think he will be a fantastic story when he does. I really do think he'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
He stands a better chance than an awful lot of people. I mean, obviously he's in phenomenal physical condition, and he's definitely a fighter. So,
yeah, that was... I had said after they had done that, or after he revealed that, I had said to you and Mike and Alex in the Mayhem Mics group on Facebook, I'm like, this better not be storyline, because if it is, I will never, ever watch WWE ever again.
No, even they're not that dumb. Although, I wasn't all that comfortable with the fact that they did the Ambrose heel turn that night.
Yeah, I wasn't comfortable with that at all either.
And coming out of that, they haven't used it, but they've referenced it, which I don't know, not a big fan of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we saw it this year. Like, people listen to some of the previous episodes of the podcast. I was so happy. Yay, the Shield is back together again. They're going to be the, unstoppable force in WWE, whether it's Raw, whether it's SmackDown, whatever it is. The Shield is going to dominate again. And then once they did the Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre triple threat thing, 6-man tag, whatever the hell, and Drew and Ziggler started getting into Dean's head and all this and all that and everything else, you kind of saw the change in Dean. I wish he hadn't done it that night, but I understand why it was done that night.
So they needed to do something to change up the storylines, but yeah,
it was a mess. Like, I kind of wish that Dean and Seth would have had just maybe a month longer run as the tag champs, and then AOP come in and kill them. Because
I figure they had, the original idea was to probably stretch things out a little longer, but everything got moved up. And then we have Brock coming back and signing a contract. By the way, the company seems to be having a lot of trouble with contracts lately. AJ Styles currently not appearing, and don't know what's going on with him.
And he's the champion. Or no, he's not. Daniel
No, he's not anymore,
Daniel won at Survivor Series. Daniel Bryan did, yeah.
No, Daniel did not win at Survivor Series. Daniel won on SmackDown last week. Which was really, really good, by the way. And the stuff they've done with him has been terrific. The stuff on SmackDown, again, they haven't suffered the injuries, although, of course, most notably, Lynch got injured right before Survivor Series, which, oof. Nia Jax is getting drilled online for it, partially kind of deservedly so, just because this isn't the first time she's
done something
injured
unsafe.
People. But I still feel bad for her.
The way I look at it is, okay, you need to be safe, and you also need to sell it and whatever, and maybe she was a little bit unsafe in this, obviously, because Becky got her face broken, literally.
Yeah, but I mean, she had the botched backbreaker on Asuka, which, looked horrific.
And that's another thing, poor Asuka,
yeah, they don't know what they're doing with her.
It's not even that. They had her at the highest high, and then they just drag her down, and, nothing. I don't get it.
They don't seem to know what to do with her. The only thing, honestly, the only division and people that have been consistently entertaining in the last little while have been the SmackDown. I was going to say have been the SmackDown women.
Yeah.
The stuff, even last night with Rousey and Flair, was the best, most interesting part of the show.
Yeah.
Although, holy cow, Rousey is getting annihilated online and on Twitter by Lynch lately, which has been oof. If you follow one Twitter account,
follow Becky Lynch.
her annihilating Rousey over and over again. Today she got her for liking her own tweets, which is pretty strong. Oof. That's been good. But I don't know. And now, to be fair, Brian's stuff has been good recently, and I could watch him and Styles go at it.
Oh, absolutely.
A million times. And both of them are really good. And But, they don't know what to do with a whole bunch of people. And then they don't have... anything to do with Joe. He loses in 35 seconds at the Survivor Series, even though he's been quite good.
Yeah, that's sad. Did I like the Joe AJ thing? not so much at the end because it got kind of really creepy. Like, I love that they did that. I think it was a good idea that they did that. It was an interesting storyline, but I like Joe and AJ individually. I like Joe a little bit more than AJ. It's kind of like my thing when anyone goes up against John, I'm probably not going to root against John Cena most of the time. But yeah, I want Joe to have more to do. Like, I want Joe to have, like, did Joe and Brock ever fight? I think they did,
yes.
But I don't. Okay, so maybe a rematch for that or something. I know Joe's on SmackDown, but
why would have not brought? So I just would have not brought Brock back, and then
no.
You could have had Joe fill that role. You could have had. They slowly seem to be positioning Drew McIntyre for something, but they could have had him fill that role.
Yep.
They have choices if they're not fully behind Strowman.
Yeah. They could have, brought back Hornswoggle and had him fill the role. Anybody's better than Brock Lesnar. Like, look, Brock's a monster. I don't want to take Braun's, name away from him, but Brock is a beast. He's this, he's that, but Brock is not good for WWE as much as it seems that WWE is good for Brock because, as we said last time, a couple of times ago, oh, yay, finally, Roman has the belt. That means a actual champion that will actually defend it more than twice a year.
It had been the first time it was defended on Raw in about a year.
Yeah, exactly.
When he had it briefly, and now that's gone. Not to mention last night, during the match with Bryan, you heard the fans chanting, quote, same old shit at one point. So people in general, I think, are pretty over or done with Brock's appearances, and they need to do something.
I was done with Brock after that last Undertaker battle, like with the two of them getting out into the locker room and one of them screaming, "I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna this! I'm gonna," like I was done with Brock Lesnar after the Undertaker thing. Not because he beat the streak or anything like that. I was just done with him by then because I had seen too much of him.
I thought the Goldberg stuff worked.
Yeah, that did.
And that was a good way to end that, and not to mention give Goldberg a much better and more proper send-off than the absolute garbage that was his WWE run originally. But after that, there was no... I really wonder what the upside is of having Brock around versus not. Like, is he moving the gates and the ratings that much? I mean, Raw's been rated at some of its lowest levels ever. Yeah. In the last few weeks. So I don't think he's obviously not moving the needle that much. But and then, like I said before, though, I will give them at least a little bit of a pass because they've had an awful lot of plans changed in the last little bit. Like I mentioned it before, Raw's lost Zayn, Owens, and then Roman in a short amount of time. And Roman is obviously... they were building everything around him. And
they were.
Brock was gone, and...
It was good.
It looked like we were entering a time where things were looking up, and they were finally ready to move on and do some stuff, but then it all kind of fell apart. And I think it goes without saying that both of us wish Roman the best, but I fully believe, he can.
He's gonna beat it. Yeah, he's gonna beat it, and you want to talk about a heartbreaking moment, regardless of what Dean did later that night. The final, 3 fist bump thing on the ramp, like, wow.
Watching Rollins tearing up at the same time,
exactly,
too.
Yeah.
Because these guys are, we've mentioned it before. These guys are friends in real life, travel together, that sort of thing, and just, it's just awful. And
it is. I mean,
again, hopefully this. I'm just I just want to see him back.
Yeah.
Now at this point,
there's a huge difference. Yeah, I do too. I hope that whatever time it does take Roman to beat it, that he does beat it, not just in remission, that he is cancer-free, kind of a thing. There's a huge difference, folks, in someone who's a part-timer and someone who is a part-time champion. And I'm sorry, Brock Lesnar is the worst part-time champion ever. I would rather have John come back once every 3 months in a year, or hell, at least once a year to wrestle something, to at least see John do something. And I know John's getting up there in age and yada, 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 and everything else, but look at Undertaker, look at, Goldberg, look at whomever else that's come back to do stuff. Hell, look at Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, Kane to a slightly lesser extent. They've all come back and done stuff, but because Brock the way that he is, I don't see the Universal Championship being challenged all that much in the next year.
No, and then you've got on the other show where they should have focused on Styles more, because he was always defending the title, and he's absolutely brilliant. Hopefully with Bryan, they will focus on the title more.
And hopefully it's not just, this week on the Miz and Bryan show. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Miz Daniel Bryan stuff. I absolutely do. But I said,
with Bryan turning, that's not going to happen, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I think inevitably there'll be a fight with the roles reversed. Bryan is the bad guy, Miz is the good guy, but that's a ways off.
Yeah, because I don't think Miz has ever been the good guy.
No, they'll need to, they'll turn him, well, I mean, when he was in a tag team with John Morrison, but other than that. So anyway, SmackDown 1000.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun show. I liked seeing all the cameos, even the one or two little excuse me's. I love seeing Teddy Long back. I just love that guy. He was one of the better SmackDown GMs. It was a good show overall.
He was obviously always having fun.
Absolutely, yeah. I still can't believe they did the whole Vicky Edge marriage. That was weird. That was like one of the weirdest times in SmackDown history in my mind.
It's weird that for a time, SmackDown's always been considered the B show by WWE, which I think is wrong, because for a time it was much better than Raw, and now I'd argue it's much better than Raw.
Absolutely.
But the Paul Heyman days, when he was doing the writing and Edge was one of the focus characters, and it was really good, and I was happy that they found a way for Edge to be on.
Yeah.
His interview with Lynch was fairly well done, and I liked where they went with it, with Edge telling Lynch that they had similarities, and that Edge told her that she's going to end up alone like he did, if she keeps on her path. It was well done. And
it was a very cool interview.
That was well done. I'm not always the biggest fan of when you get a bunch of either part-timers or guys who were retired together, but the Evolution interview,
that was cool, yeah.
I thought it was well done, and I liked that they found a way to have Orton continue to be a heel when he makes a dig at Batista, and it was well done overall. And Batista, by the way, was terrific.
So good. I miss that guy. That's something we should do on the show at some point. Do a spotlight on Batista, because man, did I love that guy back in the day.
People he's underrated, and people seem to have forgotten that as a big man, he had quite a few really good matches. He was actually a pretty good in-ring performer, and because to be honest, a lot of the big men are not very good in-ring performers.
No,
But,
he was one back in the day, like I said, somewhere between 98 and 2007 or whatever it was. But like in that era, like I remember, and I've said this before on the show in the last 3 years, when I started, like I'm on my 11th year of watching WWE full time again. I started watching full time again in 2007. And his whole runs back then, 2007, 2009, that kind of thing, I loved everything the guy did. Didn't hurt that Saliva at the time was his theme song. The band Saliva had his theme song with I Walk Alone.
That's it,
Yeah, so love that. I just love what the guy did, because he was another one of those guys where he wasn't heel, but he wasn't face either. He was more of kind of like what Dean did after the first Shield breakup, where, you know, he's basically this in-your-face kind of against authority kind of figure, but he's not like a full-on bad. He's like straddling the line of good and bad guy. He's not good, but he's not bad kind of thing, and Batista was doing that for a while. I wish he would have gotten his WWE Championship thing a couple of years ago. That pissed me off to no end that they didn't let him do that. Maybe it's because he was going back to the movies or whatever. But
I mean, a lot of it was part-timer fatigue. Yeah. They debuted him really poorly by having him just win the Rumble when everybody and their brother was behind Bryan. They just sort of had him leapfrog everybody.
Yeah.
I think it was just more WWE, they didn't understand what the fans were looking for, and they didn't know how to write around it, really. Surprise, surprise. They seem to still have problems with that, but yeah. The other positive from SmackDown that I enjoyed was Rey Mysterio and Shinsuke.
That was pretty cool.
I wish it had been a little longer, but man, Rey Mysterio still looks really good. Like, he's still got it. And actually, now I'm just going to get into the negatives. The Rusev-Miz match being about 3 seconds.
Yeah. Again, what are they doing with Rusev? What are they doing? Like, okay,
they don't know. He's disappeared again.
Outside of Daniel Bryan becoming a heel, what is the next thing for Miz? What is the next thing for Rusev? Because they don't know what the hell to do with that guy. And Miz, I feel like he's only showing up to promote Marines 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Next negative, and I hate to put this one in there, but the Cena promo, why couldn't they just have him there?
Exactly.
Or have him on live.
Something.
The taped promo did not work. What? I don't understand the decision there. That was baffling to me. And then my biggest negative, the finale. Yeah. The Undertaker coming out and doing the rest in peace and talking about Crown Jewel, which I absolutely don't care about.
So I said it before and I'll say it again. Crown Jewel will not be covered on this podcast whatsoever. If people want to hear talk of that pay-per-view, the only thing I'll say is I fast-forwarded through most of it, and it was uneventful. Crown Jewel...
It was a bad event. It was a bad idea to have it, and It was terrible.
Yeah. Crown Jewel was worse than... what's the first one? The first Saudi Arabia match they had. What the hell was it called?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
but yeah, it was worse than
the very
that
first
year.
one. Like,
it also, I don't know. It's going to be one of the worst. It's going to be one of the worst pay-per-views I can remember.
Yeah, it's easily the worst pay-per-view of the year. Crown Jewel, because of the situation surrounding it with the reporter and all this and all that and everything else, not only was it a bad pay-per-view, it had absolutely zero consequence on what's currently going on either Raw or SmackDown. Like,
it was also poorly timed in that they had Evolution just before it.
Yeah.
And Evolution, first of all,
was great.
Fantastic. And then second of all, they didn't promote it at all.
Yeah, no.
Which ticked me off and was absolute garbage. They did nothing to get it hyped, and it might be, as of right now, I would say it's their best pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, Evolution is most definitely.
It's actually really good,
yeah.
And a sign of how far they've come. And then they took a gigantic step backwards the next week, and it was terrible.
And I don't know if this is Vince. I don't know if this is the board. I mean, Vince essentially is the board, but whatever. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's creative. I don't know what it is. And as we all know, women in WWE specifically have had a long, hard road to get to where they are now. Like going from just, round girls to bra and panty matches to divas to this to that, whatever. It's been a long, hard-fought road for the women in WWE, and they deserved every bit of it. In my mind, it goes Evolution and then Survivor Series. There is no such fucking thing as a crown jewel. Because this whole thing of, we need Saudi money, we need this, we need that. Yeah. We're so not doing so well, so we need all the white men,
Survivor Series, not terrific either.
I have not watched it as of this recording.
There were parts of it that were fantastic, although it's the women again.
Obviously.
Well, mostly just two of them. And then, but I saw a great quote about it today where somebody just said, "What was the point?" And that's how it felt. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, back to SmackDown.
Supposedly there's going to be a no more brand split. There's going to be this one whole WWE again. I don't know. Yeah. SmackDown 1000 was really, really cool. I thought it was a good show. It
was fun, and looking back, trying to remember some of my favorite moments or things I really enjoyed. Edge's heel run.
Oh, yeah.
Was delightful. Like the whole Rated R Superstar, and then he was Rated RKO with Orton for a while in a tag team, and they did just a bunch of things with him. That was all terrific. They showed it again, but that first time ever with the ring collapse spot. Oh, yes. That's exciting, and that was interesting.
Seeing JR and King, I just love seeing those two guys do the announcing. Hell, I don't think they showed this. I don't know if they have an issue with the guy or anything else, but I remember watching Michael Cole and Taz do SmackDown commentary.
Yeah, again, from the Heyman age, and Taz was strong on those, actually. They were pretty good together, and yeah, I don't know if that was why they didn't have him back. Might have just been time too. Like, to be fair, it would have been nice if they had more time for memories or for some of the people you mentioned, like Teddy Long and some of the others. They just kind of showed up for 2 seconds. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of John Laurinaitis.
Oh no!
And that time, but it does kind of suck that his time was constrained to 1 second of him being there as the camera pans through the room.
Yeah. I'd have to say my favorite overall SmackDown moment, not only is it just anything with Stone Cold, but it's the Stone Cold Booker stuff.
Because that was that's true.
that was some of the best wrestling stuff I've ever seen.
That was fun. Cena's rise was really strong. Everything with Kurt Angle as well during the time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, the Stone Cold Booker, that's true. I don't know how I forgot about that, because, everyone remembers the infamous shopping/grocery store beatdown.
Yep. Love it. Absolutely love it. Honestly, anything with Stone Cold and Vince. I mean, because, that was a thing. And everything.
Vince and Ric Flair
Yep.
feuding whenever that one was in charge of Raw, the other was in charge of SmackDown.
You had probably the best moment a certain country's president is ever going to have when, the Battle of the Billionaires happened.
Oh, Lashley. Why are you
still here?
Talking about guys they don't seem to know what to do with.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, SmackDown is more than just the B show. It has had moments that would rival some of the best Raw moments.
Yeah, it's been really good over the years, and Raw didn't start out strong.
Oh, God. No, it did not.
Because of its era.
Yeah.
They started out in the whole everybody's got an occupation era of WWE.
Yeah, so over on Geekcast Radio's Wars wrestling tournament thing, we're recording this before the final winner is announced, kind of a thing. There was one episode where Optimus Solo had to miss because of a previous engagement, so I came in as the Repo Man. And so I'm like, the Repo Man, I gotta look him up. So I'm like, WWF Best of Repo Man or whatever else, and it showed me this Monday Night Raw clip.
Yeah, he wasn't on a whole lot, might I add.
Right, no, right, obviously, but I'm saying that, they had referenced the Repo Man on the podcast, so I'm like, okay, I gotta look into this kind of thing. I looked into it, and I'm like, I'm watching this moment, and I'm like, oh my God, will they turn that fucking siren off on Monday night? Those early years of Raw, I would never rewatch them, because that siren pisses me off to no end. That was the dumbest thing. Oh, God.
See, SmackDown didn't have a siren.
Exactly.
Yeah, but SmackDown didn't have that. They started out at a time when things were good, and
they started out with being the beautiful people, because the Marilyn Manson song was the theme. So it was the first SmackDown theme song I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but yeah, for the most part, they were able to kind of hit the ground running, and that helped them a lot. It would have been nice to have seen The Rock on SmackDown 1000 more for talking about, because he's synonymous with the term, and just I mean he was SmackDown in the same way that Cena was SmackDown. It was nice they had Cena appear at least somewhat, even though, like I said before, it was really underwhelming, but they should have found a way to work Brock in somehow.
Yeah, in my mind, the four horsemen of SmackDown: Stone Cold, The Undertaker, The Rock, and Cena. I'm sure there are others. I mean, just in wrestling standpoints, right. But like, think of.
It's tough, though, because to me, Edge and Angle are synonymous with it,
absolutely.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, for years, Edge carried it.
Yep.
But a lot of he and The Undertaker feuded for quite some time on it as well.
Yeah,
then they've had a lot of good superstars pass through there. And hopefully, years from now, if we do this, or if somebody else does this, they can talk about Lynch being synonymous with it too, because she seems to be at the start of a pretty amazing run, hopefully. As long as Nia Jax stops hurting her.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's crazy, and SmackDown has had a good run. Hopefully it continues to have a good run. Hopefully it outdoes Raw. And like we said, Raw has suffered some injuries and some setbacks, and that very much sucks for the people that have, had that happen to them. But right now, I'm not thrilled with any of it. Like I said earlier, I have not, as of this recording, I have not even watched Survivor Series yet.
I enjoy watching the stuff with the women right now, but there's not a lot else. I mentioned Brian and AJ I could watch forever, either against each other or generally what they do against other people is entertaining as well. But aside from that, they don't know what they're doing with half of their characters or half the people.
Yeah.
I mean, Elias Weekly gets some of the loudest cheers, and they don't have a clue what to do with the guy.
Yeah. Like, I thought they were going to put him on this big heel turn. Like, he got vicious recently. Like, it looked like he was going to go full-on villain kind of thing, and then nothing happened with it.
Well, they turned him... when the announcement with Roman happened, they decided they needed more good guys, so they turned him, and they turned Strowman. Yeah. But they just haven't done anything with Elias. And then tonight, spoiler alert, they still didn't do much with him. He got involved in a 6-man elimination and gets beat and leaves. Like, yippee.
Yeah, this is why I'm not sure what the hell's going to happen next on Mayhem Mics, folks. We might be going on a hiatus for a while. We might just stick to WWE comics from Boom Studios because I am less than interested right now. And it's not just because of Roman's news or anything like that, the Shield breakup, the storylines changing. It's not just because of that. It's because the overall product is just... If I am fast-forwarding through a cut-down version of the show just to get through it to see if there's anything I actually want to see, then there has to be a problem. And we can do other older content and things like that, but I don't know right now.
Don't worry, I'll make him do something.
So, where can the people find you online, sir?
At Nightbeat on Twitter.
There you go. I'm at TFG and Mike on Twitter. You can follow at Geekcast Radio and at This Week in Geek on Twitter as well. Go to geekcastradio.com and or thisweekingeek.net for the show. Next time, who knows? I don't know what the hell is going to happen. So, could be an Evolution, could be a Survivor Series. It could be a minute-by-minute commentary on Transformers the movie. Who knows? I don't know.
We should definitely do Evolution, just because
absolutely
we shouldn't ignore it the way WWE tried to ignore it.
Yeah,
which was
absolutely.
A load of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say right now, not to necessarily give away my hand, the only thing that I did not like about Evolution, and I know this is more because the NXT people were promoting that than the main WWE people, I'm not a big fan of the live music in the beginning of the NXT events. I'm just not a fan of that, I guess. Other than that, I absolutely love Evolution.
I like when they use it for the themes. I'm okay with that if it's a slightly longer entrance theme. But when they just decide to have music for the sake of music, that's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So, alright, folks, we're going to get the heck out of here, and we will catch you next time here on Mayhem Mics.
You just made the list! All clear.
At My Taxi Business, we know the meetings don't stop when the festive season starts. With 4-minute wait times, 10,000 drivers and automated reporting, My Taxi wants to make your work life easier, no matter what the season. For hassle-free setup at no cost, visit business.mytaxi.ie.